Unfortunately for the Atlanta Falcons, James Pierce Jr. makes headlines that is most likely going to ruin his NFL career. I'm Todd Corder. This is ATL Prime Sports. Larry's with me, and also Wayne, our producer of the show. No JJ tonight. Gentlemen, let's get started. But before we do, remember you can get all our podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Give us a like and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. All right, gentlemen, how are you this evening? You doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Congratulations to the Seahawks for winning the big game this past Sunday. Everything was under except for May. He was the only one that really got the over on any of the prop bets.
Yeah, I heard that you and I tied. We were the winners of the Pick Six this year. Wayne, that's awesome. Congratulations to you. We each get a co-championship. It's like a co-national championship in football.
Right.
Larry, what's up with you?
Everything's well, man. We are wide open into our baseball and softball seasons with Georgia Tech and Clark Atlanta and Kennesaw State University, and in about 6 weeks we'll be started with the raw members as well to throw that into the mix. So it is wide open as far as it can go up in our neck of the woods, but we wouldn't have it any other way. Enjoy it.
Well, that's right. I'm still in the process of calling Clayton State basketball. Jacksonville University basketball on the radio down in 1010 XL in Jacksonville. I've done 4 or 5 road games this season. And no, I wouldn't have it any other way also. So let's go ahead and get started. I tell you what, let off the bat with James Pierce. This is an unfortunate situation, Larry. You got a guy that had an outstanding rookie year. The Falcons, who didn't have a pass rush for years, finally get a pass rush. And then this kid here rushes himself to prison, and he most likely won't play in the NFL ever again. Everybody knows the charges against him. We don't need to read them out. And, Larry, this is an absolute shame. The Falcons decided to go ahead and trade up to get this gentleman, and they no longer have a first-round pick, and they no longer most likely have him on their roster. What a total disaster for a team that doesn't even have a first-round pick this season. This is absolutely pathetic.
Even more so, TC, the fact that you've got a brand new regime, you got a brand new president of football who's really, honestly, the face of the organization because he's the face that the people trust. You've got a brand new coaching staff, and the first order of business after you finally get everybody situated is the alleged allegations against one James Pierce Jr., which everybody knew leading up into his draft, the character concerns that everybody who was familiar with the University of Tennessee and his track record there, I wonder if it was just that the talent was just too good to overlook those glaring concerns or whatnot. But TC, you're absolutely right. It is a tragic situation. It's travesties all over the place. I hate it for the WNBA's Los Angeles Sparks, Rakia Jackson, but she's already said what she's willing to do. She's ready to testify, and as the kids say, basically that means she's got receipts. So we've seen things like this happen in the past with Rashee Rice, with Ray Rice, several different situations and circumstances that we've seen where the NFL usually comes down very, very hard on the culprit that is eventually convicted, if you want to call it that, because right now I'm going to continue to say alleged because nothing is transpired as of yet, but everybody's seen the tape. Atlanta's got some problems. The one thing that we thought the Falcons were going to be good in going into the offseason and going into next season was the defensive side of the football. Well, now you've got 10.5 sacks you're going to have to replace because even if at bare minimum you can just about count 12 games bare minimum that he's going to be gone if he isn't fully outright released altogether. So now you're back in the same boat that you were in when you drafted both him and Jalen Walker. Now you've got to find another defensive end. You don't have a first-round draft pick. You're going to have to do some real good. Your scout team is going to have to, or your scouting personnel department is going to have to do some real good work. Simply being because 10.5 sacks ain't easy to replace. And Atlanta hadn't had that kind of production out of an individual since Beasley back in 2016, 2017. So Matt Ryan and Ian Cunningham have got some big-time work to do between now and April for the NFL draft, because that's going to be a place of need now. And what that also means is Tyler Algier, somebody that you were hoping to bring back in free agency, now is going to probably have to be an expenditure as a luxury, because you're going to have to take that money that you're going to try to use to pay him and find another defensive end to go opposite Brandon Dorlus, the inside tackle. I don't know if Leonard Floyd is going to come back, but he was underwhelming last year. You know, you've got some holes on that defensive line that you're going to have to work through, and this situation made it even worse for Atlanta, TC.
Well, just think about it. I mean, this rookie linebacker, you know what? He's facing 5 felony charges. I mean, this is unbelievable, having this domestic dispute. I might as well read them all. 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, aggravating stalking, and fleeing and eluding police. It took 7 policemen to corral this gentleman. And, you know, he allegedly rammed her vehicle, rammed his vehicle into her car twice, struck a police officer with his car while fleeing. He posted $20,500 bond, maintains his innocence. No, there is absolutely unequivocally, you touched a police officer in the state of Florida, that is automatically 5 years. His career's toast. This guy's not playing. And the Falcons already have enough problems at the quarterback position. Now you'll switch it to the other side of the football. You know, most likely you're going to have Cousins a cut next month. He'll be cut. You'll have to find a quarterback. Your other quarterbacks had multiple ACL injuries. He won't be available at the earliest in week 5. You're going to have to find a veteran quarterback, and this class is just very thin, led by Tua and the kid from the Cardinals. I mean, this is not a good situation. Your best bet is Cousins, but you have to release him because of financial issues. Maybe you go get, who knows? I mean, it's an absolute mess. Joe Flacco. I mean, this franchise, you name it, the accident will happen, and it happened again, literally and figuratively. And if you went through the history of the Falcons, we could do an entire show on the futility of this franchise. Wayne, your thoughts on this gig?
Sorry, I had my mic muted. Was he he was chasing around that woman or whatever with a Lamborghini, wasn't he?
Now, I don't know what he was chasing around with. It probably was some expensive car, but
yeah, well, that's about typical.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, look, other teams passed on him. The Buccaneers, Larry, passed on him because of character issues. The Falcons and their former regime thought, we'll go ahead and do it anyway. And you had so many red flags for this kid coming out of Tennessee, Larry. The Falcons just find a way to falcon it.
Oh, you look. We've been fans. I've been a fan of the Falcons long enough to tell you, like I said, instances where it ended up blowing up in. If you look at the reports that have come out since then, all intel sources state that Terry Fontenot was going to draft James Pierce Jr. at the 15 spot, but couldn't pass up Jalen Walker when he fell in their lap. You know, so he had to start some moves to try to get the guy that they originally wanted to draft in the first place when they saw him falling like a rock at the bottom of the first round. And unfortunately, sometimes what looks good ain't good for you. And in this case with the Falcons, you'd have been better off just letting him go. And I know he played his butt off this season for that defense. But man, you were 23 years old, and because you can say mental health, you can say anger issues, you can call it whatever you want, whatever psychological term that you want to place upon it to diagnose and call it out. The bottom line remains that a man's future is going to be completely derailed because of some internal issues that he couldn't manage. And we see this story happen all too often, but more often than not, it gets swept under the rug. The charges are released. But this is a point for Atlanta where you're going to have to, if I'm Matt Ryan, I've got to send a message with this.
Cut the cord.
That this will not be I just cannot be tolerated. People who represent this, and on the blame, his entire tenure with Atlanta, this has been his norm. Anybody that's got a checker pass, he don't want nothing to do with you. It ain't even a 3 strikes and you're out rule. It's a half a strike and I don't even want to look at you rule. So the question Atlanta goes, and you said it, TC, you got to get your quarterback fixed. I think it's going to be Joe Flacco because he's already played for Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland. He'll know the offense. He'll know the jargon. He'll be able to get you at least 4 to 5 games until Penix is good to go. I think that'll be the case, the way that they go there.
He's better than
defensively. Well, as of right now, it's still left to be determined because we don't know what Penix's mobility is going to be. I think that's going to be the key to everything with him. We know from the waist up, he is legitimately as good as advertised. The problem is he good from the waist down? And that's what we're going to have to find out once he gets back, because one of his fellow draftees in that same class, Jaden Daniels, he can't stay out of his own way because he's so used to running with the football. And that has got him hemmed up coming back from injury as well. I'm sure Coach Quinn there with the Commanders is going to have to do something about his offensive line, protecting Jaden Daniels if they think they want to have something to do with TC. So a lot of things that are going to be up in the air for the Atlanta defense, that's for sure.
Well, that's for sure. Let's move on to another pathetic subject since we're on them. Talk about Charles Bediako. Sorry about that, gentlemen. Charles Bediako of Alabama, a basketball player that played for the Tide. And then finally, the NCAA rules that he's not eligible. First, he ended up being eligible because of a judge in Alabama, for political reasons, made him eligible. He plays in these games for the Crimson Tide. He's a former professional basketball player. Now he's back playing college basketball, and now he's finally not eligible. And when you talk about this gentleman, I mean, this is incredible. You just can't make this up, that college athletics is in the state it is. We're allowing former professional basketball players to come back and play college basketball. What an absolute mess. And this Bediako player, he's got talent, but he is no more. He shouldn't be playing college basketball. And I just cannot believe that college sports is in this situation. Think about all the wonderful things that happen on the court and on the field, and then all the nonsense and the mess that college athletics has put themselves in. A third grader could run college athletics better than the folks now that are running it, and that would be the NCAA or whomever. I mean, you've got the NIL mess, you've got portal mess. The NIL is no college is going to be able, gentlemen, every athlete at every Division I school Nobody can afford to pay these athletes every year. Every athlete getting paid. Now, maybe some schools are going to be able to do it, the big boys, but there's not going to be many to be able to do it. One, they're going to drop down to Division II, or two, they're going to start drafting. They're going to go ahead and start dropping sports. So, first of all, we'll handle the Alabama subject, then we'll handle the next one, since I'm going to do a 2-for-1 in this segment. But, gentlemen, this has gotten out of hand. The transfer rule should be really simple. You get one transfer if the coach goes. You get one transfer if you can't hack it. And 3, you can transfer if you're a graduate student. Larry, this stuff is so stupid that I just can't even stand talking about it anymore. I mean, they're ruining college athletics. I mean, I know I know that the NIL part, I don't have a problem with. Kids can get the money that can get it by, advertising a product or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. But then every athlete being paid, they'll have to jack up tuition so bad, or they'll have to drain the alumni so bad that the next, like LSU, they're going to have to keep Lane Kiffin forever because they're not going to be able to afford to fire him because they're still paying the guy behind him, which is Brian Kelly. I mean, this is an absolute mess. Go ahead and go, Larry. Your thoughts on the kid from Alabama, and then B, what I was talking about, the sad state of college athletics at the moment off the field.
Well, I'm going to use a couple of different examples. So, first and foremost, the moment the NCAA decided to pay players for their name, their image, and their likeness, they no longer became amateur athletes. They are professionals.
That's right.
They don't want to label it. They do not want to label it that, but they are indeed professionals. Now, in this particular case, what is the difference between an athlete that's in college that is paid to perform their service there and a professional that's paid to perform their service there? The only difference is one goes to class and the other one doesn't. So to me, I don't see any, unless you are physically have been in the NBA and you are physically of a certain age gap. Like, to me, if you are letting 6th, 7th, and 8-year seniors, grad seniors, still be able to play collegiate athletics, these kids at that point, they're not even kids, they're grown men. You're paying people that are 26 and 27 years old to play collegiate athletics. There's no difference in that in a G leaguer. So if he's willing to go to class, I don't see any problem with him playing. But once you get to I think you've got to set an age gap to where, or age limit to where you can no longer consider yourself to be and I don't even want to use the word an amateur athlete, an amateur student athlete, but without a medical condition for like red shirts. I understand the COVID did everything and threw it out of whack, but you got to reel that back in, because if you do so, that will fix it. Everything else will fix itself. Kids are graduating, 24 years old, they're done. You're still paying them. They're still professionals, but they're attending class. It's a problem when you got 27, 28, and 29-year-old guys talking about, man, let me go back to school. Let me grab another degree so I can play college ball again. That's a problem. All right? So, and if you open it up for people to be able to do it, people would do it. It would literally be like what ball used to be like for us back in the day. I know many of y'all, our listeners will remember this. Y'all too may not remember this, but Wayne, we had a basketball facility in the SWATs in Atlanta called Run and Shoot, where it was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can literally walk in after going to the club. You can literally walk in at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning and 4 courts in a row going wide open with some of the hardest basketball you ever want to play in. You would have people that would say, you know what? Yeah, let me get I need a journalism degree. Let me go ahead and go to school. Let me enroll real quick so I can go play and enroll and play for a college team. People would do that. That's how crazy the world we in. And they'd probably put it on TikTok so they can see, y'all, look, I'm back in college again. I'm playing ball, blah, blah, blah. But all jokes and kidding aside, it's a strange situation. The world of collegiate athletics it's a free for all at this point, and the powers that be have got to be man and woman enough, and they're not because they're making too much money. They're making money hand over fist. They've got to set concrete rules in place. Otherwise,
there are no rules, Larry. It's a wild, wild west.
No.
And
yes,
you know what? This
the
Charles
inmates are running the asylum.
Bediako, I'm sorry, Larry, I was going to tell you, yes, this Charles Bediako, I mispronounced his name earlier. I apologize for that. I do this stuff for a living. This Charles Bediako of Alabama, he declared for and participated in the 2023 NBA draft process. He went underdrafted, but then he signed an NBA two-way contract. I want to catch everybody up. Playing in the G League, which is semi-professional basketball, which led to an ongoing eligibility battle with the NCAA. And when he returned to play for Alabama, he declared for the 2023 draft after his sophomore season in Alabama. He'd already been there. He stayed past the withdrawal deadline. He had signed with the Spurs in their organization. He never did play an NBA game, but I'm sorry, he spent time in the G League. He played professional basketball. You have no more eligibility. You're done. That's the way it is. I think he played for the Austin Spurs, for the San Antonio Spurs G League affiliate. And then I believe he also played for the Motor City Cruise. Yes, he did. So, you're done. You had your shot. Somebody told you to go. You're done. And who's ever given these kids advice, they're idiots too. There's no way this guy should have left the draft when he did. And when he came back into college to play this time, he wasn't some kind of dominant figure anyhow. So, this stuff is all nonsense. You're right, Larry. 100% correct. We have to have rules. And Wayne, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, that NIL money down at Alabama must be one heck of a thing. That's the first thing. And the other thing is, you'll know when this starts catching on when Penny Hardaway here in Memphis and John Calipari up in Arkansas start pulling these guys out of the NBA.
Tom Izzo went nuts. He's not for it. That's one guy we always talked about. We always talked about the former Alabama coach Nick Saban of being a czar. Tom Izzo could be the czar for college basketball. He sounds a lot like Nick Saban, probably a lot more stricter. And when you listen to him talk about the state of college athletics, he shakes his head a lot at this stuff, and this is one of the things that really set him off. And this stuff has to stop, gentlemen, and the adults have to act like adults in the room and set these rules like Larry said. I like what he said, and we need to stick by these rules and have someone enforce them. Let's go ahead and move on to another fun topic. Oh, yeah, the Atlanta Braves. Oh, what a fun topic this will be this evening. Well, they already have an issue already in camp, an injury issue. You believe that, gentlemen? You can't make this stuff up. Schwellenbach, who, think about this. He's already basically done for the season in Spencer Schwellenbach. He's on the 60-day IL, whatever you want to call it, DL. I don't give a rip. With right elbow inflammation. Think about it. He's already 60. He's got all kinds of issues. He's basically, they were saying on the local radio, national radio, that he's basically done for the year. The best he can come back and pitch would be September and maybe the playoffs. Are you kidding me? This is what the Braves did not need. They've already got a list of guys recovering from stuff a year ago. You had Ronald Acuna miss 144 games in 2 years. Let's see. You've had Murphy injured, recovering from right hip labral tear, the catcher. You got Ha-Seong Kim. He's out, what, till mid-season at least with a torn ligament in his right middle finger. You got Joe Jimenez recovering from November left knee surgery, left knee surgery. Grant Holmes recovering from elbow surgery. He's participating in bullpen sessions. A.J. Smith-Shower recovering from June 2025 Tommy John surgery. He's not going to be diddly squat this year, maybe at the end. Ronaldo Lopez recovering from shoulder inflammation, and he has a list of historical injuries. You've got, who else was hurt? Oh, yeah, Ozzie Elby. I mean, this team is a walking mass unit, and you did improve the bullpen, Atlanta did. They ended up getting a nice arm out of the bullpen this year. But, guys, when you have this many ifs, and I do trust the Braves more than the Falcons, Larry, this is not a good sign for their season. You're looking at a third and second place finish. I know it's early. It's February. They can make a bunch of moves. But this is not – when you have this many ifs, you know you have problems in the future.
It goes even deeper than that, TC. You know, I've been chit-chatting with a lot of my buddies within the Braves organization, man, and you know, a lot of them are looking up, but several of them, really several close ones, have already said that they just didn't expect Spencer Swellenbach to be having to deal with this issue, knowing that he was coming off such a good season the year before, and not only that, but some of them are regretting trying to get him to uptick his velo at this expense because – you know, one of the things that I've been listening, Greg Maddux has talked a lot this offseason. He's probably talked more since the World Series than he probably has in the last 10 years prior to it. But the one message that he continues to try to preach is kids are so hung on velocity because they can't get seen with just movement alone. You know, he said he rarely threw a pitch over 90 miles an hour, and he's a Hall of Famer. So the people that are advising these kids are cutting their careers. And I'll even throw it this way, and Wayne, you can even chop in on this, man. I was thinking about this earlier today. I do not know of any city that had 3 professional teams that got bit by the injury bug over the last 2 years as worse as the Hawks, the Braves, and the Falcons. And it looks like the Braves are continuing to go in the same thing this year. You know, you mentioned all of them people. You got to throw in Jurickson Profar for his drug suspension for half the year, too. Ozuma's gone because he's now with Pittsburgh. You got several different holes. Now, Drake Baldwin's going to probably have to play catcher most of half of this year, you know, and alternate with the new signee from Texas, one of Wayne's buds, Mr. Hahn. You know, so Alex Anthopoulos has got a lot of work to do. You're probably going to have to try to sign at least 1, if not 2 starters that are still free agents. You're going to try to do, and I know him, he'll try to do somebody cheap like a Charlie Morton that's 200 years old. I wish they had threw the money at Verlander. I thought he would have been a good fit for this squad.
Hey,
I thought
his veteran presence. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I'm glad the Tigers did. That's all. I'm glad the Tigers did it.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, and that's what organizations who don't care about the money and are trying to win, that's what they do. Please see in your footnotes the Los Angeles Dodgers. But as we are continuing to move forward, you know, if Atlanta wants to be back in playoff contention, they are going to have to come off them pocketbooks. You cannot expect to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. It is the very book definition of insanity. And right now, if you look at your starting rotation, you've got Chris Sale, you've got Spencer Strider, you've got Hurston Waldrop that's probably going to be number 5. I don't know if Ronaldo Lopez is going to start, but he'll probably be there before you know it. And then you've got a big hole sitting at your 3rd starter spot now that Swellenbach would have occupied. You got arms all over the place. You know, there are 2 up and coming that would be good form, and you'll begin to see these names. J.R. Ritchie, who I was able to see for a lot of the season last year in Rome, as well as Owen
yeah.
Murphy. I was able to see him as well. I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them got a call up to at least start the season as a fifth starter and moving Hurston Waldrop up in the rotation. But, man, you got some things you got to fix, and you got to fix it quick.
You're right, fixing it quick. Joe Jimenez, Atlanta manager Walt Weiss, said Wednesday that he's uncertain if Jimenez will be available to pitch at all this year. Thanks to Schwellenbach, he can require arthroscopic surgery to remove bone spurs from his right elbow. Kiss him goodbye. But check this out, Murphy. You just mentioned it. Drake Baldwin's going to catch a lot. He's expected to be sidelined until sometime in May. Then, Martin Perez, they signed him to a minor league contract. He's got a shoulder issue. Chris Sale was injured a year ago. Spencer Strider came off a major injury. This team is a walking mass unit. We mentioned Kim. He underwent surgery Sunday to repair a torn, that was back in January, to repair a torn tendon in his right middle finger. He's going to miss 5 months, so he's not going to be back until June at the earliest. I mean, this is an absolute mess. And you mentioned Lopez. I mean, they're going to stretch him out as the starting pitcher during spring training. That is, if he doesn't hurt himself. I mean, Smith Shower, I mentioned him. He went Tommy John surgery. He'll remain, he missed, obviously, 2025. We'll see how effective he is in 2026 if he pitches at all. The word Tommy John doesn't mean 1 year, gentlemen. It means basically 2 years till you're worth a diddly poo. I mean, you're right, Larry. They're going to have to go grab some pitching, and that's not easy. And that costs big money. I'll tell you what, Max Scherzer's out there. He'll give you some innings. It may not be exactly what you want, but the guy's going to compete. And, if the Tigers picked him up, I would be thrilled. He pitched for Toronto in the World Series, did great last year. I mean, yep, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. Larry, I mean, what do you think, Wayne?
Well, I'm not even prepared to think about baseball yet. In my opinion, all the baseball starts a little bit too early this year. I'm still working on my emotions. I'm working on all my emotions out with college basketball and the Memphis Tigers right now, just hoping that they get into their conference tournament.
You know what? Let's stick with college basketball, Larry and Wayne. This is a 2-for-1. I'm going to kind of do what I did with earlier. You've got the bitterness of rivalry getting out of hand. You've got Michigan and Michigan State going at it in basketball, and that Jeremy Fears has been accused of dirty play, and he had some of it. Then, of course, in the Illinois game, the media accused him, and Illinois' coach said, no, that did not happen. Then you've got Michigan and Ohio State in football with coming out on the field, driving a stake in and et cetera. This stuff, where are the adults in the room? Where in the world are they in the room? You know where the adults are in the room? They're the coaches and the administrators. I mean, just stop this nonsense now, which leads to people getting on the field, which leads into the part B of this subject. You've got court storming. Just think about that in the Duke, North Carolina game. I don't know why North Carolina is storming the court. They've won millions of great games in the history of North Carolina. They stormed the court, and Duke Stafford got trampled and got a bloody nose and was injured. These problems can be stopped by the adults in the room. Larry, Wayne, you first about this jazz. Ridiculous.
Well, I think that what you probably need is the referees to start calling the games a lot harder. And when these teams only have, 2 bench players left on the court because everybody's fouled out, then they'll quit doing that. As far as the fans coming on the field, I was joking around earlier on, I think in a text with you saying they ought to put those big plexiglass panels up like they do in hockey. Just put that all around the basketball court.
Well, you know what? They just climb over the plexiglass. I can remember one year, gentlemen, I watched Boston. I can't remember the opponent. It's killing me. I watched the Bruins players go in the stands like the movie Slapshot. I know you guys are probably familiar with the great hockey movie Slapshot, where they just went to stands and started wailing on the fans. So whatever it takes to get this stuff stopped. Larry, what do you say about all this?
I just think it's a cultural phenomenon that has a lot to do with the lateral connection and the lack of discipline from kids in their homes to the time that they get to college campuses. They don't believe that the rules apply. They do what they want to do, however they want to do. Doesn't matter if it's going to cost the university any money whatsoever. It's like every moment is not worth storming the field. Every moment is not worth storming the court. Act like you've been there before, please.
There
Yes,
you go.
it is the best rivalry in college basketball, Duke and Carolina, and it has been for years. We've seen great games. We've seen awesome games. We've seen Zion Williamson blow doggone shoes out of proportion with Barack Obama sitting in the doggone stands at Cameron Indoor. We have seen the greats of Vince Carter and Anton Jameson dunk all over Christian Laettner and Grant Hill. And we've seen it over and over again. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if this is you, and I have had to call these things before, live as in color. If you do have a great upset victory, it needs to be you wasn't ranked, you wasn't thought about, and you somewhere beat a top 10 program. Then you can storm the court. Do whatever you got to do. But act like you've been there before. There are rules in place. Follow them. The problem is
I agree.
Administrators there on campus won't execute the rules. I'm done with my little rant.
Who are the adults in the room? That's correct. Act like you've been there before. Barry Sanders, when he scored a touchdown, he just flipped the ball to the referee and been nonchalant. We got about 5 minutes left in the program. I don't know about you guys, but I am looking forward to the hockey. The men's team, they're going to make their quest for the gold. They haven't won it since '80, since the Miracle on Ice with Herb Brooks and etc. And wow, I mean, Mike Uzzaroni. I mean, what a team that was. Jimmy Craig, who played for the old Atlanta Flames, was in net. I mean, holy smokes! This is a shot. But I tell you what, the women guys, the women's team, they smoked Canada 5-0. They played them before the Olympics. They're up 4-0, and there was a brawl right in front of the net. You want to see something exciting? Watching women throwing haymakers on the ice. I don't think they'll do it in this atmosphere, because if you do it in the Olympics, you've got consequences for your behavior. But I'll tell you what, wait till the medal round when the Canadian women and the American women meet probably for the gold. That will be the most physical women's hockey game you've ever seen. I'm looking forward to it. And oh, by the way, Lindsey Vonn, no one is tougher than that young lady at 41 years old. We all know her injury, breaking her leg, already playing with a torn ACL going on the women's downhill. That to me, guys, that's just stuff that athletes need to take their page from Lindsey Vonn and Barry Sanders and Tom Brady and just play the game and give it all you got. Your thoughts on that, gentlemen? Go ahead, Wayne.
Well, I don't know if I have many thoughts on that. I hadn't really watched too much of the Olympics. This year I've been going. Yeah, well, going back, it's college basketball time for me, so that's kind of what I've been focusing on.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, I'm focusing on Michigan State and what a game that was with Michigan. Larry, what do you got in regards to the Olympics?
Yeah, man, the Winter Olympics is, I'm learning how, because as a former track and field athlete in high school, a state champion
Me too.
400-meter runner. I tell people all the time, I find ways with the Winter Olympics to kind of pair with what I would do in the Summer Olympics, and being able to watch these speed skaters and how they are flying around this ice is crazy how fast these cats are going. It is absolutely, both the men and the women, they are absolutely flying around the ice in speeds people haven't even seen before. You got speed skaters now doing backflips like it ain't nothing, when back in the day when we were kids, we were looking at the French lady, Surya Bonali, who was banned from it and disqualified for performing a backward somersault in a floor exercises routine. So it talks about how much the sport, figure skating, speed skating, curling, and others, how far we've advanced just in the last 30 years. It's incredible, man. I love watching the Olympics.
Did y'all see the event where the American finished in second? I can't remember who finished first. Running uphill on skis at a sub 6-minute pace. That is absolutely ridiculous. It was phenomenal. I'll end the Olympics on that. I guess my final thought is Bad Bunny and you know what? His audience came for the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, this was a poor choice for a performer. The Super Bowl ratings always peak at halftime. Not in this case. They dropped. The numbers are unquestionable, and Roger Goodell and the NFL need to change focus. That's my thought. What's your final thought, Larry? Then Wayne quick.
My final thought is right around with the Braves. The pitchers and catchers are already there. Several of Atlanta's prominent players are already there. I think they have the mentality that they want to be able to compete this year. And some breaking news right now that just hurt my heart as soon as I seen it come across the flashing timeline. Right-hander, the pitchers I was hoping today would sign, right-hander Chris Bassett and the Baltimore Orioles are in agreement on a 1-year, $18.5 million contract. Sources tell ESPN. The one man that I thought would be great to have to come along with our new pitching coach has just signed a free agent deal with the Orioles. So Braves got a lot of work to do, man, and pitchers are just dropping like flies to the free agent. They're getting signed everywhere. So Atlanta, if you want to get the fans back into it,
You're right,
man,
Wayne.
I mean, fans back into it. Let's go.
Larry, you're 100% correct. He turned 37 on the February 22nd, went 11-9 with Toronto, and he threw 170 innings in today's game. That's gold. Larry, you got a final thought, then we go. Excuse me, Wayne, you got a final thought. What's yours, Wayne? My bad.
That's all right. We got the Daytona 500, which is the first race of the NASCAR season, coming up this Sunday. And I think they straighten out the qualifying tomorrow or Thursday with 2 races. So we'll look forward to that this weekend as well.
You know what? That's cool, too. The Daytona, the Olympics, pitchers and catchers, NHL players playing in the Olympics. I mean, there's a lot going on right now. The NFL messed with the Falcons. There's never a dull moment. That'll do it for Larry, for Wayne, for myself. Everyone have a great evening. Hit that like and subscribe button to ATL Prime Sports, and talk to you next week. I'm out.